Okay, I will call the meeting to order of the Economic Development Commission of Essex on September the 3rd. It is 11:02. Our chairperson, Igor, is absent today, and I and the vice chair, Ken Signorello, I will be officiating over the meeting. First order of business is the agenda. I see we have moved our partner updates into the public to be heard. Excellent. Right after public to be heard. Got it. Is there any members of the public that wish to be heard? I see nobody online. Check the waiting room. I don't see anybody. Nope. Then we will continue on. Oh, sorry, agenda changes. Anybody have any agenda changes?
Looks like the only difference is gonna be that Sam's not here and just Alex is gonna give us the update.
Yep. Yeah, in the future, I wouldn't recommend even putting a name down. Just let it be.
Just partner updates.
This way,
Perfect.
in case someone.
That's what we always do. Why don't you work with
That won't require an agenda change then. Irene, anything?
No, I'm looking for the agenda, and I found it.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the agenda. It's good.
You want a copy?
Got
You
one.
got it,
Thank
got it. All right then, some minor change. We're changing Sam Anderson to Alex Demoli. That's the only change I am foreseeing. To double check. Good minutes, workforce transportation, temporary signage, good. The development applications and mission statements. I'm good with that. I'll take a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
That would be Irene. I'll second it. That would be Ken. All in favor of approving the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That would be 3-0. Next up is the public to be heard. I don't see anybody. Anybody in the room? No public. Partner updates. Alex, introduce yourself and tell us what's cooking.
Okay, hi, Sam is out today, so you're stuck with me.
Stand by one moment. Where's that audio coming from?
Right up there.
Why can't it come out of the TV screen?
We've tried that before. It just comes out of there.
No, it doesn't. I had at the last Conservation and Trails Committee meeting, they got it to work. No way?
As a one-off.
I don't know, I know, Brittany set this up at your request.
All right, speak as loud as you can.
Okay. Turn up the volume. Well, it's nice to see you all. I'm vice president at GBIC. I work with Sam, and she regrets to not be able to come today, but you got me, so sorry. A couple of updates. First is applications for the Regional Priority Project list, the RPP list, are coming up on October 17th. So as a reminder, that is a list of the highest priority projects in the region. And by being on that list, a project gets extra points in the application for the Regional Borders, NBRC, Northern Borders Regional Commission program. That's really important. It is one of the most significant programs that we have available to us in Vermont, and it is becoming increasingly competitive given that federal funds are not as available as they once were. So it's important to apply for the RPP and get on that list in order to improve your chances of making it through an NBRC application. Beyond that, the Vermont Economic Progress Council, VEPC, is continuing to meet and come up with guidelines for their Community and Housing Infrastructure Program, CHIP. They are having a meeting each week and are aiming to have all of the policies completed by November and start accepting applications in January. Otherwise, there are a couple of interesting events coming up that you might want to attend. The first is, both are at the Hotel Champlain in Burlington. The first is on September 18th. It's the Vermont Solutions Summit. It's being put on by the Vermont Futures Project. And it's a pretty interesting group that I'm sure you're familiar with, but I encourage you to check that out. The second is a week later on September 25th, and that is the Coalition of New England Companies for Trade, otherwise known as Connect. And it is for importers and exporters between the US and Canada to meet and discuss the current situation. But Other than that, there's not too much else, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
The project list that you referred to,
Yep.
do we have any projects currently on it?
That's a good question. I know the train station was on it at one point. I don't know if they were moved off, but they've been on the past. They've been on in the past.
So we.
The last one was the infrastructure of Route 15 and the upgrade of the water. And we were on the top 10 list. It was the first time Essex has ever been on the top 10 list.
So that is on the list,
Not the last.
No, it's on the last list.
last list. So currently, I'm asking about currently. Do we have anything on the list now?
I can take a quick look and double check. Give me a moment.
Take your time. And the question, of course, based on that answer is going to be, should we?
Mhm.
So I will say it's always worth applying, and being on that list, just again for the benefit that comes from the points that you can get from being in the top 10 while applying for NBRC.
These are for infrastructure type projects, right? If I understand it correctly?
Largely, yep. Yep, there are exceptions, but generally it's used for infrastructure projects. Let's see. I'm having trouble finding it now. I'll get back to you on it.
Okay. Out of curiosity, would a dam rehabilitation be appropriate?
It could be. It could be. Yeah. Yeah. This is within the town of Essex.
So it's not something I'm gonna take on, guys, since I'm working on the ordinance project, but if either of you, or I'll mention it to Igor, are interested in finding something to apply with, you have until, what was the deadline, October something?
October 17th, Friday.
You know, and I know we have some funds put aside for the rehabilitation of the dam at Indian Brook, but maybe a matching scenario would be able to upgrade it to something, especially with flood potentials down the road with an automatic weir, adjustable weir, so we can lower it when we know it's gonna be a big storm, something maybe more than we would normally have gotten done.
So this is the Northern Borders Grant, am I understanding that correctly?
That's right. So the application on October 17th is for GBIC's and the Regional Planning Commission's RPP list. That list is used in the scoring for NBRC applications, for Northern Borders applications.
Any other questions, other fellow members?
So it's not necessarily commerce related in that the dam doesn't really bring in new business or something, right?
But that is a huge attractive area which brings people to our town.
Right, I'm just wondering what their criteria are. I know
right.
our criteria, but I want to make sure I'm.
Yeah, so business retention and expansion is part of the application, but it is not the only thing that's scored. So if you can make the argument that having the dam makes the area safer, it makes it more reasonable to put housing in, something like that, right? That can help out your application. But it does not have to be explicitly for business development.
And we'll bring it downstream stuff.
And is this an annual deadline?
Yes, and there are it's actually biannual, so it's twice a year. There are 2 revisions each year, a spring and a fall. So we're coming up into the fall round.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jean?
There's an off chance. I don't think we'll be ready in the 17th, but it may be. There is an off chance that an offshoot of the Catmuth study will be a request for a micro grant, for a planning grant for a workforce transportation hub in Saxon Hill.
Okay.
But it more than likely, I'm not, depending on what we get, more than likely the more data we have, the stronger it is. And I've always sort of mentally thought it would go to the spring, not the fall, but we'll keep you apprised as to where we are with that. But it's always good
So
to
that's a
get on.
potential grant opportunity, is that what you're
Yeah.
suggesting?
For NBRC, because that's directly involved with, business retention.
Northern Borders. Any other questions? That wasn't a question, but that's okay, good to know about that.
Not for me.
Okay. Thank you very much for your update, Alex. You can hang out if you want, see what else goes on,
Sure thing. Thank you.
totally up to you. All right, we have minutes. We'll take a second if you don't mind to look at them, because I haven't had the chance to do that. If people have changes to the minutes they wish to request, now is your time to make those suggestions. I'm gonna guess that Irene might have a couple.
Yeah, but I now have a question about this agenda.
Oh, what's wrong with the agenda?
We aren't approving the August 6 minutes.
It's August
We
21st.
never did.
It's August 21st.
I understand that, but we also need to approve the August 6 minutes, and we didn't do that. Remember
Okay.
that? That was a thing that went on. over
Yes.
email. We
I thought we
discussed
did it at the last
that. Did
meeting.
not.
No,
So anyway, let's talk about the 21st, but then I would like.
We'll
to
amend the
get to
agenda,
that.
which we can do as a majority. Everybody's okay with, and I assume there'll be no objections. Going back to.
Make a motion to that effect.
If everybody, if there are no
Consensus.
objections, I'll consider that motion made and passed. Now, let us bring that up.
So which minutes we should start with?
Let's start off with the 6th.
Thank you, I'm sorry about that.
No, good catch. Almost there.
I think I emailed a couple of these to the group, but we should talk about it in public. Under the public to be heard, Abby Duke and Katie DeSanto's names are run together. I don't know if you have them in front of you. Is that,
Keith, are you catching these?
I don't.
okay, I'll hand a marked up copy.
Okay.
And under partner updates. The first bullet says Betsy meetings, but it's Betsy, VEBC, the Vermont Energy Building Code. The last bullet talks about GBIC's neutrality on siting a new women's correctional facility. I would like to add with an acknowledgement that it would be a new business. Business generation is what we all aim to do.
Wait a minute, where is that?
End of the last bullet,
Under public to be heard?
under partner updates. Yeah, Sam was talking about how she couldn't, because it's kind of a political football, weigh in on it. But I did get her to acknowledge that it would be a new business and that it would bring new business
Okay.
benefits to the area. And then finally, I think Keith had to depart by the time we adjourned, and so it was a 3-0 vote. And so I think, to be clear to the reader, we have to put in parentheses, Dunbar had departed by,
Okay.
or something to that effect, so that people reading are not going, wait, there were 4 people, how come only 3 voted to leave? And those are all my suggested changes for.
Okay, then,
Those are for 8-6, right?
that is for 8-6. We need a motion to approve the amended minutes.
A motion to approve the amended minutes for 8-6.
And I will
Second.
second, thank you, that's Irene. Any more adjustments? In that case, all in favor of approving the amended August 6th minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That would be 3-0. Moving right along to our next one.
That was for 21.
I have to figure out how to get there. Come on. What Wi-Fi am I on, I wonder? Forever. I don't know why. There we go. Changes to the August 21st minutes, if there are any. All right, I have them over.
I would suggest that, under approval of minutes, we just say postpone until next meeting or something like that to indicate that we did talk about it.
We didn't, you sure we didn't do it?
We didn't.
We did not.
Yep, so
And
strike,
this-
strike item number 4.
And this information is just left over from the prior template.
Okay, so the change is to strike item number 4, approval of minutes.
Well, not strike it, but to say postponed.
We just didn't do it.
Right, but you have to list it because it was on the agenda, so I would just,
I
instead of
see.
all that highlighted
I see.
text, I would say.
Item number
postponed.
4 will say postponed.
I have a suggestion for number 47, line number 47, we talk about Matt. And, I think in casual conversation, it's okay to say that he represents the ABC NHBT, but the word representative, since we're in a context of a government, I don't want to misrepresent, he works at the State House as a lobbyist, so we could say,
Represent,
staff or to the, or
he's
part
like-
of the, whatever, but not the word representative, because me, that.
he must have a
confusing.
title, I would assume.
Yeah, he's executive director of the whatever, right? But-
Executive director, that would be good.
Whatever whatever business card says, I don't know.
Okay, so replace representative with proper title.
Exactly, thank you.
And what about his full name? Is that listed anywhere else?
Yeah. Under the tenants.
Okay, good.
And then finally, on lines 88 and 89, this is just a spelling, Lamel has 2 L's at the end. The word, and that shows up twice.
Okay.
And I just want to be fair to our
Oh, I supposed to contact
business
them.
partners.
Supposed to get that reminder. That's for a source of wood for their tables.
You know, in lieu of the title for Matt, sorry to go back then. You could just say Matt with the, or something like that,
Okay,
with, that way we don't have to haggle over what his title is today versus yesterday or
okay.
as a business card.
Okay, so there's 2 changes, basically, change approval of minutes to not include all the stuff underneath it and just say postpone. And to change Matt's, include Matt's title in the place of representative
Or something, just taking out the word representative.
at the very least.
You just say from. the
Just say, oh, yeah.
Not
Okay.
from.
Okay, I
Can make it
understand.
easy on
Yeah,
ourselves.
don't bother looking it up if you don't know what it is.
No. And it was from his business card, kind of.
All right, those are the only 2 changes to the minutes.
And the woman.
And the spelling,
Yeah.
it's just a
Not
spelling on
major,
the
but
one.
it's important.
All right, then, a motion to approve the amended minutes from August the 21st.
So,
That'd be Irene. I'll second it. That would be Ken. Any more comments about the minutes? Then I will ask for all in favor.
I,
Aye, that would be a 3-0 vote to approve those minutes. Moving right along. Process of approval of minutes. Irene, you apparently have this item.
yes, the question has arisen as to whether it makes sense to be, in an offsite business situation and trying to shuffle minutes, papers, or screens and remember what we read on the minutes in real time, and perhaps minutes should be approved at these more formal meetings.
at the business meetings and,
At the on-site meeting as opposed to the off-site meeting or whatever, however we want to distinguish them.
Are you making that motion?
Well, sure, I'll make that motion and discuss.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any more discussion? about it? So your suggestion basically is to approve minutes only at our regular in-person business meeting on the first of whatever it happens to be, so I know it's one of the.
Well, it doesn't have to just be, I mean, if we don't have an offsite meeting on the
Don't
third
do-
week, that's fine.
Basically, don't do minutes approval at our.
At
business-
another
At our
business.
business outreach.
Right, that's a good, yeah.
Okay, so that's the motion, it's seconded. Any more conversation about it? In that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So our minutes will now only be approved at our business meeting, the first of our 2 meetings per month. Next, Capital Workforce Transportation Study. Jean, this is you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I sent along to you the scope of the study and then the questionnaires. And I've got copies of it here. We can talk it out. We don't necessarily go into in depth, but the plan is, we're working with 3 of our major Saxon Hill shift employers, Premier Foods, Autumn Farm, and Blodgett. And what will be happening is CATMA, the Champlain Area Transportation Management Association, will be conducting this survey. They will be working with the HR directors, all of whom have agreed to do this, to get the policy, the transportation policies for each one of the companies. And then to work with, then they will ask for and work with all of the employees. They're gonna ask the HR directors for the employees, preferably their email, and then CATMA will go in with their people and work, and then there's a very extensive survey that they'll ask the employees. The goal is to get at least, hopefully, over 50% in each one of the facilities. And what we will end up with is the data which will tell us where do these employees live, and how are they getting there, and at what shift are they working. And then taking that database, we can take a look at it. There is a program called Go Vermont, which is a van program which is part of the reason we reached out to Autumn Harp particularly, is Autumn Harp has been in that program for years because they joined the program when they moved from Bristol to here. And it's sort of dying off, but they've got so many years of being comfortable with it. Blodgett, 2 years ago, we got so close to putting this program in, and we got knocked down because part of the requirements the state had was that an employee had to drive the van. And when the workers' comp carrier realized that, they then smiled happily and said, great, that brings all of the highway statistics in to your workers' comp insurance policy, and they would be skyrocketing. So that died. However, subsequent to that, I have found that Working Fields, a company that's no longer with us, unfortunately, also had the Go Vermont van program, and they did not have an employee. They had work. So that gives us a window of opportunity. Hopefully the way this works is CATMA will do the original 3 shift companies. They're 24/7. We'll get some data and really take a look at who's coming in, when, and where. Because this speaks to the 5,000 employees who show up every day in Essex. We got 5,000 people, roughly 5,000 people who leave to work within 10 miles of their homes in Essex, and we've got another approximately 5,000 coming in to work here. If we can expand then to, by hand, we can go to revision and the other major employers who are on shift work, really build a database, and then Enterprise, who works with the Go Vermont program, they did this, it's insane what they can do. They can then take a look at all of that data and model van, they can map it and model a microtransit district for it using vans, and the vans, and it's not particularly expensive. It's normally an employer-employee shared cost. However the businesses work out, the hope is that we might be able to, and this speaks to the NBRC grant, we might be able to work this into a mini workforce micro transit program, not public transportation. None of this will touch Green Mountain because Green Mountain's in a state of disarray anyway. And this hopefully would be getting people to work at like on 3rd and 4th shifts. or at 5 a.m. in the morning, then we can expand that, as I said, by working with the other folks. And out of this, several other things could happen. I talked to Keith as a member of both working for the chamber and as a member of the EDC, is it would be, we do not have any business organizations in Essex. So the business community's voice isn't necessarily heard. We saw that when the 422 people responded to our survey, and what we got out of it was Parks and Rec, more, Parks and Rec, education, and more retail space. So what you're getting is you're getting the commuter's view of what's needed in Essex, but we don't have we have no way of hearing what business wants. So one of the recommendations, which we're all gonna get from the economic development, is business groups like this forming. So I've asked Keith to talk to the chamber and see what they could do. And is that something they might wanna actually bankroll and help us do that? And and I'm asking TPMA, what is the municipal role? I mean, does the town of Essex actually go out and make this organization, or does it actively facilitate it in the way we're talking about, and then partner with it? The other offshoot of this further on down the road is childcare. Once we've identified the body of workers who are coming in and with transportation, Blodgett years ago, because they're insanely good employers, talked about doing childcare, but they realized that wasn't in their wheelhouse. But we do have childcare centers up there. We could also build, another center could be formed, and as Blodgett said, they'd be perfectly willing to partner in something like that. Because what you need for childcare is it's gotta start at 5 a.m. Because if your shift starts at 6, you've got to get into childcare at 5. So out of this could really blossom a strong business voice. And then once the business voice in Saxon Hill coalesces together, then clearly you go to River Road, you go to Susie Wilson, and you really build this. So your major employers the town can get an understanding of what the needs are for the major employers. And the answer is workforce, clearly. So that is the Catlin study, and I thought you'd like to look at the scope. The cost is it's very inexpensive. It's only $5,000, which is not, substantial. We were paying $40 for the economic development study. And the questions are interesting. So it's so I thought you'd kind of like to look at it and see where we are. And I'll keep you informed. This starts literally this week, and so I'll have answers by your next meeting for sure from what the employers are saying, and how well we're doing how well Catlin's doing in terms of really getting in there and working with the employees. So that's what that is.
Thank you. So if your questions, I'll go first. So this is underway,
Yes.
and how is it that the businesses that are participating were selected?
Size and shifts and experience.
I saw a reference to Saxon Hill. Were other businesses considered that were not in Saxon Hill?
It is it's geographic in nature. We're trying to build a database of workforce transportation needs in a specific area. That's the most concentrated area we have in the town of Essex. So obviously Saxon Hill is where we want to start. Then from that, the next decision is, who are the large employers? And the two that jump out immediately are Autumn Harp, because they're doing it already. So they've got real experience. And the second really obvious one was Blodgett, because 2 years ago, we were so close to actually doing the whole thing. So we actually have a lot of data that may or may not be still relevant, but we have a very willing participant. And then the third was thanks to Blodgett, because they were able to reach out to Premier Foods, and they got with buy-in. It helps to go to high school with the. I love the networking. So we've got 3 very actively willing employers, and then later reaching out to places like Revision. Revision is insanely hard to get in touch with. It's actually owned now by the old venture capital firm that bought it and sold it several times over. People aren't on site, so we wanted 3 big employers with, and what'll be interesting is to find out whether all of their shifts are on a similar time frame.
The reason I asked is because I thought that there are other large employers around Suzie Wilson Road, for example, Lowe's is probably a large.
Again, it's geographic in nature.
I know, I realize that, but the geography that was selected apparently was because that's where there was a large concentration of employees.
Yes,
And I'm just pointing out that,
and as I said, once this goes, the goal is to reach out to River Road, Suzie Wilson, and to expand this throughout, but we need a good solid
no,
data
I
set.
understand, it's convenient, it's close together, and
Seems like they probably do the most shift.
you
work.
answered my question. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'll say that, you mentioned copies, do you have copies to share?
Go online.
Yeah,
I know, I bring mine.
Well, I've printed out just for convenience, the
Yeah,
hard
so if
copy.
you want to pass that over, that'd be
Sure.
great, thank you, and, you mentioned that, we don't have the Essex Business Thank You and Professional Association anymore, which did some of these
Ooh, that was another
things.
question I had, thank you for mentioning that. What's the name of that organization that Blind Children? Rotary.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask about Rotary. So Rotary, kind of dips its toe in being Essex business
organization.
related.
Yeah,
Are you a member? Have you talked to anybody there? Because again, I wouldn't wanna, repeat efforts, and I would also love to, get their help if they're looking for a pet project to get involved in.
I work very closely, I go to a lot of the Rotary meetings,
Okay.
and Rotary is primary, is both a junction and an Essex prospect, it's not just, and this isn't in their wheelhouse,
Okay.
they do a lot of charitable fundraising,
Right.
that sort of thing, and they boost local employers, but it's not something Rotary does.
Is there a national type or like the Rotary business type organization that we could become a chapter of, that I'm not aware of?
Well, that's why we're talking to the chamber.
Ah, Chamber of Commerce, but. So you got my question, that was good, so. I guess it would have been nice to have some input on this earlier on, but, say, Libby?
So I'm concerned about the length of this survey. It was daunting when I looked at it on the screen, and it's still daunting
Not that-
on
Yeah.
paper. And I'm thinking about when I've toured Autumn Harp and, other businesses in that office park, there are a lot of line workers that I'm not sure English is their first or second language, and I would just as well see somebody with a clipboard go up and down the rows on a shift, asking those 3 questions that you just gave us, which is, how do you get here? How far do you travel
Right.
from? And when is your shift? I mean, all this other stuff is great if you're writing a dissertation, but I think it's number 1, unnecessary. Number 2, it's gonna discourage people, anybody from answering them. And I'm just very concerned that if you want 50% return, I think you need to go after it and meet people and ask them those questions and really penetrate the businesses in a way that's a lot friendlier than a survey on a screen or even a survey on paper, just my 2 cents.
Excellent, really, I share with you that concern. This isn't Catton's wheelhouse, this is their study, their procedure, and their methodology. I am delighted, I'm reaching out to Sandy later on today, and I will absolutely point, it is nice to have, it's good to have support with that, because you're asking, they've done this. And assure me that this is doable. It would be great if we could get someone, and they can go on site, we've talked about this, they'd like to get the emails and work with the people. They can also set up a website where all of employees could be encouraged to go answer it. So, I am sincerely hoping CADMA is experienced and knows what they're doing, but I agree with you, and I will pass those on.
Are they part of the UVM network, or do they just service UVM?
It's separate. They started as Catma started as as the UVM Medical Center.
Right.
And now it's expanded.
But
And
they
if
don't have
there's only about there are only 3 or 4 transportation management associations in the country. So it's it's a unique governmental form.
Yeah, because I was hoping it had close ties to UVM still, because this is the time of year when students are looking for jobs. And I could just see a perky freshman or sophomore at UVM gravitating to this kind of work and,
Yeah.
and getting paid whatever it costs for them to show up on these weird shifts, but or weird hours. Not necessarily college student hours, maybe to be there at 5 a.m., but maybe, asking these questions of.
Yeah.
employees.
It'll be interesting to see, this is their design and their methodology,
Okay.
but I can't agree with you more.
Well, yeah, thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you for that report.
No, I was gonna say you actually asked the questions that I was gonna ask.
I'm sorry.
And it was, yeah, it was very daunting though, when I looked at the,
Yeah.
when I looked at the survey, I was like, wow.
Okay,
Exactly.
next up, we have the South Burlington Economic Development Study, which was included in our packet. Jean, explain why this is here and what do we need to know about it?
Well, real quick, what you got is, we don't have their physical study yet because it hasn't been approved by the select board, so you couldn't release that. But what we do have is, and I sent you all, is this is their presentation of the study
South
And-
Burlington.
and gives you an idea of the scope and the results. So I wanted, as we're awaiting the draft for our study, and this is literally simultaneous with our study. I really wanted you guys to have a chance to look at it and decide what you like about it, what you don't like, what's going on. I also gave this to Catherine and to Greg and to Karen, so they could really get it, say, what are we missing? And for instance, I mean, the line, a playbook for leading Vermont's innovation economy, this kind of a headliner. And a 1-sentence description, there's a great line in here about, and Greg liked. Economic development shouldn't happen to a community, it should happen with one. I mean, and there's various things, their comparison, I know that the comparison we're looking at, the data comparison we're looking at from what we're hearing from TPMA is the 4 other surrounding towns. South Burlington, there are national databases we were looked at through, but the thrust of the TPMA study is the surrounding towns. And you'll see in this one, they're talking about 10, they had a data set of 10 other similar communities in the country. So, I mean, it's getting, because we're gonna get a draft and we're gonna wanna look at that draft. So I said, okay, this is what someone else is getting. And when they do the draft, we won't get as finished the product like we got, but get a sense. And, the only takeaway I can say is that one of the select board members, and I were having breakfast, Ann Pugh, who is a glutton for punishment. She, after 20 years in the state house, she decided she's on the select board in South Burlington. And her takeaway, which came loud and clear, which I think is really important for us to hear, is that economic development is not just recruiting businesses to come into town. It is supporting businesses, it is making sure that your blend is not one-sided, so you can't get blindsided by one sector of the world going to Helen Handcart and all of a sudden there you are with nothing. And we have a history of relating to IBM and now global. So that's important. And what she liked a lot is that in the presentation, there's short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. So that's the only feedback I got from the select board, but it's something we should think about as you're gonna give feedback to TPMA about what it looks like when we get the final study. So that's that, just, FYI. And then I checked around with all of our surrounding towns to find out when their last economic development study was. And the last one, other than that, I think it's 5 years old and it's not worth looking at. So at least we have one that's really current.
Was this produced by TPMA?
No, this was produced by their civic soul.
So this is included because this is what we can anticipate getting, that's what you're saying?
No, this is what an economic development study looks like, that is contemporary to the study we're getting. And this is a presentation a town that is near us got. So it gives you a sense of perspective of what you're dealing with.
Just kind of what we can anticipate.
Well,
No, not
this is what
necessarily.
this is what
It's
an
an
economic
example of
development study as
Something
presented
far.
to South Burlington looks like. We're gonna have one presented to us,
May look like this, may not.
right, but it gives you context.
I actually thought it's kind of nice and interesting in some respects. It's short for one thing, surprisingly short.
Well, this is just the presentation, this is just these are your bullet, your,
What did they pay for that, do you know?
I could not get that out of them. I can,
Anna will whisper it to you, right?
Try local,
I will find,
Try
it's
local
gonna
minutes.
be public record at one point.
exactly. Try local minutes. If they're in local minutes, I bet you can get that
It should be.
answer.
Minutes.org.
It can be found, but I will get the price.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
That's
you
a
know,
great
comparison wise, yeah.
Speaking of
I
which,
like some of these ideas. Go ahead.
where is Lindsay? I mean, we're meeting at 11 to meet with Lindsay and I don't see her even on the agenda.
She's not on the agenda this week.
Okay, why are we meeting at 11? I thought I thought these meetings are supposed to be at 11 o'clock, at 8
To
o'clock
accommodate.
for all of us who were trying to fit this into our busy work days. And
Right.
we made an accommodation for Lindsay during this time period so that she could meet with us. And month after month, we meet at 11 o'clock and it messes up the schedules of some members of this commission because we're not meeting before the workday starts and she's not here again. So I'm just, nothing against Lindsay. I just don't understand why we don't coordinate meeting with her at an 11 o'clock meeting and having all of our meetings at 8 AM as we all signed on to do when we joined. Because that's less disruptive to our schedules. If not my sleep schedule.
Well, but you speak to an issue that's of concern. TPMA, we have had scheduling problems with trying to get Lindsay because she is so busy.
Okay,
Erin, who did all of the data, has subsequently left TPMA and gone out on her own.
Okay.
I am sensing, as I said, we had a meeting with Greg and with Karen and with Catherine yesterday. I am just getting a sense that TPMA is going through some reorganization changes because it sure sounds like everyone's a little strained. So it is of concern because we're also behind in our schedule and we should have had a draft in our hands right now.
where are we on the payment? Have they received all the money?
No. There's still money outstanding. And we did extend, there was an extension of service with no additional cost to the end of September. So, that was buying time. That's why I am concerned about, it's a concern. It's just a concern we can deal with. So my question to the commission is, vis-a-vis scheduling with Lindsay. The next meeting, how do we get availability for everyone if, this brings up, unfortunately, I mentioned to the chair, I got notice from Kate LaRoche that this will not be available to the EDC at its regular meeting time on October 1st, which is the next business meeting here. The auditors are here. And so I've got some available dates for the next week and all of that. But what should the protocol be for, okay, I get a date with Lindsay.
Let's take it one step at a time.
Yeah,
We changed our meeting time.
Right.
To this time to accommodate them.
right,
Let's first find out, were they planning on attending at that regular time? If they were, can we possibly try to find another spot? We're not very many people in this building that we can meet, so we can just carry on, like the little conference room upstairs, for example. Might be a simple solution to the problem, provided she's going to attend. Now, if she's not, then the purpose of having this Wednesday meeting at 11 o'clock is moot. And we should consider a change.
Okay, so, why don't that's my first, the two takeaways I've got here is I'll double check that the conference room upstairs is, because it will definitely accommodate.
Not until you remind them that we purposely set this up for them, are they gonna be coming? And if they are, then yeah,
Cause it is typical for me, especially,
Exactly.
to come here at 11 on a Wednesday.
yeah.
Oh, hell, yeah.
The point is, we did this to accommodate them. If they're not gonna make it, yeah, we should make a change.
Okay, so I will reach out to them and then circle back to the commission as to what's going on. And then I'll await decisions thereof.
And if necessary, I mean, we did this for the, for the Conservation Trust Committee, we can have a very brief online only special meeting to decide when our next, to change our regular meeting time. The changing the regular meeting time is kind of like an important thing.
That's fine. And, you know, what would, I did, a question, what would stop the commission from, if she's gonna be available on that Wednesday, on the first, of the regular
usual,
time?
yeah.
Couldn't we, if we could even do this all online, she'll be online.
Good point, we can.
Okay, so we got, so that's a lot of, that's great.
Is that allowed under the current open meeting laws? You
Yes, it is, because we're advisory only, we are allowed.
Just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
hybrid, the only issue is there has to be a physical place with somebody there that can be in your office.
yeah, easily. Perfect, okay. So
Does
we
the
got
upstairs conference room have Zoom capabilities? Do you know?
Do what?
The upstairs conference room, does it have the ability to Zoom?
I have no idea, but I'll find
Okay,
out.
because that's important, because we should have an alternate location, because the auditors will be here again.
And this is a lot of space to pick up for just us.
It is,
Yeah,
thank you.
okay, so,
Remind them that we did set this up for
Oh, yeah.
them.
And our patience is growing short,
A
because
little-
they haven't been here for several months, and
She
we
was
thought
sick-
they were
she was-
wrapping it
She
up.
was sick last time, honestly.
I understand, but, I mean, we thought they were wrapping up this thing, so.
Yeah, a little guilt trip would be in order, I think.
They're gonna pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I wanna be sympathetic to whatever's going on with them, but then she should be notifying us that she can't make the next meeting at 11 on a Wednesday, since we set it up especially for them. The fact that you have to continually go after we say to you, hey, why isn't you here yet? It seems to me really backwards. She's the consultant, she's the high paid person, she should be proactive about this kind of stuff. Thank you.
Are we ready to move on to the next item on the agenda? All right, then, perfect. Temporary signage. I have handed to you a draft ordinance for temporary signage. On the back, you will see an example of an illegal temporary sign. I think we can all agree we don't want this sign to be illegal. Technically speaking, the zoning administrator can pull that sign. And that's not a good thing. And we've heard from a number of businesses that would like the ability to be legal with their temporary signage. I have been to the planning commission already and gave them a heads up that they might want to revise the zoning regulations regarding temporary signage to say something like, unless regulated by a town ordinance, in front of where they have in the zoning regulations, the regulations regarding temporary signage, so that if it takes 2 years to get an ordinance to pass, when it finally does pass, it'll automatically kick in. They seem to be amenable to that idea, but probably an official statement from the commission at some point would be in order. So I don't expect any input on this today. So don't try.
No, that's good, that's good.
I use ChatGPT to do this. The basic concepts, and I want one-way conversations on this. Do not institute a multiple email conversation. Take a look at this. I will send you all a link to where you can find this online. You can grab it, make adjustments to it, and email it back to me only. And then I will have a draft with amendments at the next meeting.
Is it in a Google Doc?
It is in the Google Doc.
Can you just share it and we could make,
No,
no, okay.
Technically,
share
yes, you could.
read only, and you can grab it, make a copy of it, and put your stuff in it, and then send it back to me. But you cannot edit it so that others can see your edits.
I was just gonna say, put the comments on the side. Okay,
That would be a conversation.
okay.
That's the whole idea.
Okay,
Got it?
perfect. Yes,
Other members can't see what
Yes.
you're thinking until the meeting.
perfect.
Hang on, Gina, I'll get to that in a minute. I want to quickly just run down the basic ideas that are in here. unless you've got something to say that would sort of make that.
No, it'll be about the Google, it's about the drive, so,
We'll get to that later then.
yeah.
All right, so the basic idea was, we want to allow our Essex businesses to put up temporary lawn signs, lawn signs and other temporary signage, that's point number one. We certainly want them to be recognized as legal or not legal. Thinking power washing signs and, those, and those are typically not for local businesses. We want there to be, I think we should have a fee for being able to put them up. There should be a duration. There should be a fine if your signs have to be pulled and you expect to get them back. That could be a fine regardless, but if you want them back right now, when Sharon pulls signs and somebody comes to the town to get them back, she just gives them to them. Not good. I did exempt political signs. The fee for political signs is 0. So at some point in the future, it could be something, but I thought initially political signs probably should be 0. I noticed that the town itself is a regular violator of the current ordinance, the current zoning regulations regarding the signs for the farmer's market. And that's another thought. I did not consider that in this. Should the town be exempt itself? I don't know. Finally, the idea, I have a duration set, enforcement and penalties, and the one thing I didn't put in here that I want to put in here is how will you know a legal sign versus somebody who paid the fees versus somebody who didn't? And the answer to that is, and I do have to add it, I think, is I want a person comes in, they fill out the form, they pay their fee, they get a QR code sticker to stick on the signs. The QR code sticker will say something about that permit, particularly when it was issued, so that 14 days later, it's no longer legal, or whatever that case may be. So those are the basic ideas that I have in here. You don't have to respond to them now, because it's the first time you're seeing this, and I understand that. I will send a copy to Eugene. I would like this to be as part of the next packet.
Okay,
The next EDC packet or the next planning commission?
EDC packet. This will not go to the planning commission because they do not pass ordinances. They may want to be aware of what the ordinance will be like, I suppose, before they make a conditional right exclusion from their zoning regulations. But the simple solution for the planning commission's perspective is simply for them to qualify the
Right.
zoning regulations and say, unless regulated by town ordinance, these are the zoning regulations regarding temporary signage, which stay as is with a qualifier. And then once this passes, and I would bet this will take more than a year to pass.
do you want this in the, we can put this in the reading file for the off-site agenda, so you'll have it immediately, not wait till October, okay?
We won't discuss it offsite.
Right.
Right,
It should be in the
but
reading
just,
file.
so you get it in your hand faster.
And the public has a chance to look at it as well.
Yeah.
Which is always a good thing.
How will you find the non-compliers? You can't find them.
Well, right away, you'll recognize an illegal sign because there'll be no QR code.
Right, but who knows who puts up the power washing sign? I don't.
Doesn't matter, once it gets pulled, because now we know it's gonna be pulled, right? They'll be sitting in the office and thrown away, probably, they're not gonna come and collect them. But the benefit here is if she can figure out whose sign it is, she could send them a bill with a fine. And letting them know, hey, by the way, if you don't know this, there's an ordinance in town of Essex, you're not allowed to put up signs if you don't have a business in Essex. Or maybe, and I'll be looking for suggestions, maybe we do wanna allow out of town business, but charge them more. Might be another thing to do.
Like you do.
Open to suggestions on that, I'll be waiting for those.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
really concerned about, like national organizations coming in and putting up signs.
Outside organizations.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went with Essex organization,
I think, yeah.
that was my thinking as well. And I'm particularly thinking about the seasonal ones, and by the way, this applies to garage sale signs. Because right now, those are a thing that you see constantly, and maybe it's only a couple, I'm like, what did I say, the fee, $1 or
$1,
$2?
I think.
Yeah,
$1 per
very
sign.
inexpensive per sign, I think it was. So yeah, you can have a legal garage sale sign for $1.
I just don't see people registering their garage
Neither
sale
do I.
signs, and I think that's problematic.
So that raises the simple question is, well, how will the enforcement happen? Right now, we have one person who picks up signs. So as an ordinance, as you know, more people, more members of the town, more work people of the town are more authorized to enforce ordinances. That would be every police officer, for example. I see a smirk.
Yeah, but on a given Saturday, I don't want the cops to be picking up yard sale signs when people put them out to get
The
business
point-
and generate commerce.
The point is, the police are out and about constantly, Sharon Kelly is not. I would suggest also that other town employees might be authorized, such as public works folks. I would basically say that any town employee could be authorized to pick up an illegal sign. As opposed to right now, it's only one person. And right now, the fining, if you don't know how the zoning regulations work, in order to find somebody, there's a whole process. It's basically like an illegal building or an illegal fence or an illegal something. That's the process that temporary lawn signs would have to go through.
I think we should exempt yard signs.
What?
I think yard sale signs should be exempt because they go up and they come down. Hopefully. I just think, you know, we can't communicate a lot of information from town hall to get.
They'll still go out, most likely. And what happens after that will depend on who is enforcing. So what's the problem? They're illegal
again-
now. There's no difference, really.
You could write a carve out.
Or I wanna see carve out like TV for political signs. I just don't think it's fair for the average mom and pop who's doing a yard sale to have to go through, coming to town hall and register. And it's not gonna happen. I mean, people aren't gonna get the word. They're not gonna remember a year from now, oh yeah, that's right, I'm supposed to register the sign. I don't know.
Well,
Doesn't seem very practical.
technically speaking, right now, those garage sale signs are illegal.
Right, and so you're writing an ordinance to make sure that they're not illegal, and I appreciate that.
So then let it be, is what I would say.
No, you're making a carve out so that they're no longer illegal, but there's a place for that. And,
All right, so you would like to add garage sales to the exempt.
yard sales, tag sales, whatever you call
We'll
them.
take that under advisement and we'll wait till we have a full committee and we're discussing this more officially
Sounds good.
to decide about that. Appreciate the input though. So that's the idea.
I have a thing on sign, I have a question on sign.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try to diplomatically say this. We could say candidate political signs. I think we're looking at a world where politics is, and party pressure groups are coming into the state with political ideology signs. I don't know how to place it.
Great point,
Register
Candidate
campaign,
sign.
register campaigns,
great point.
because there could be a question also.
They can
So
register
a
the
registered,
campaign.
right, so registered campaign signs. Thanks for
How
that.
about registered campaign
No.
signs for people on the ballot? in the
Candidate.
district?
I already know, I asked Greg about this. For example, we saw a sign, political signs for an office that's not in Essex.
Yeah.
We saw Essex Junction signs in Essex.
Yeah.
And I asked, are those legal? The answer is no. So yes, political signs have to relate to an election in the town of Essex. I'll make sure that's in there if it isn't already.
And candidate, because if you get
Well, it
into,
could be an issue,
No,
there
it
could be
could
a
be an
valid
issue.
issue, like a charter change that's local to Essex.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It needs to be a local issue in Canada.
Yeah.
I would say. Like the school board budget, right, there's always signs
Right.
vote on the school board budget,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
good
want people to yank those either.
Yeah, and remember during the
Yeah.
merger times, we had
register.
vote no on the merger. That was
Yeah.
a question thing, so.
Perfect.
And vote yes on the merger. So those are the ideas. Before, we go away from this, I just wanna make sure you guys are still on board with me continue moving forward on this. Is this worthy of my time and effort?
Well, I mean, for me, I do get tired of seeing the.
You're not the only one.
ones and- Yes, so I think it's,
Yes, okay, I will continue with
Yeah,
this.
And we've let this go too long, I think.
It's a problem, for
And
sure.
Politics are changing, as Gene said, and I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better, so I think it's gonna get better.
And I really do. We've heard from businesses we talked to, Chapin Orchard, Browns River Maple. We definitely wanna help local, particularly seasonal businesses have the opportunity to be legal.
quick on the Google, I
On this
sent
other
around,
topic, just hold, let me just wrap this up and then we'll do the Google Drive. Any final thoughts about this? Then great.
Yeah, but we're gonna discuss it again, so.
Yes, oh no, this is just an introduction to let you know.
But if you wanna massage it between now and when we post on the Google Drive, that'd be great. Looks like you took some notes, right? So if you want to.
I will make some adjustments before I send it along for the reading file for the next meeting. All right then. Well, Google Drive is not on the agenda, so we'll add that.
I move that we add it
I second.
Where do you want to put it?
right now,
Right
while,
now,
while the topic is hot.
T1. All right, so moved and approved. Jean?
Thanks. I forwarded to you an email from Tammy Getchell, our communications director, saying that we are not, no committees are to use Google Drive anymore. They should migrate all of the Google information onto their webpage.
We have no access to it.
I don't, I'm,
We have no access to the webpage. I looked at it, I looked for where I logged in, I tried to be able to put information, we can't put anything there.
perfect. So I will then, I'll respond and say.
Tell them,
that
give us
you-
access and we
committees
would
listen
we would
and
be
see-
happy to accommodate.
Yeah, we can
Perfect.
fly.
Excellent.
In the meantime,
Done.
I have created a Google Drive. Let's not call it a committee Google Drive, because it can't be that apparently. It's my drive, and I've been very careful to make sure I stick with open meeting law. I discussed this with, and you might want to let the communication person know that the issue of Google Drives for committees is still up in the air. The LCT recognizes that this is an important resource that committees need to be able to use legally. The primary issue, as I explained earlier, is communication between meetings amongst a quorum. That is the problem. You already know that we are allowed to send emails to the entire body with things like scheduling questions, and that actually can be a two-way conversation. Documents can be sent via email. You can't respond to everybody about the documents, but you could with one person. So those are the kinds of issues. So that restriction can be mimicked with a Google Drive quite easily. And I've been very careful to set it up that way. So I just wanted to let you know that right now, it's possible that a Google Drive can be used, maybe not not official, but we can work with it if we stick within the rules.
Maybe at our next business meeting, I could book Tammy to come in and you could have that conversation with her.
If you think it's necessary, yes, bring her
Yeah, because I got a, you know, the email we got was basically, thou shalt stop this now and migrated too, so I think a good, having her come and have
in.
a.
I read that
conversation.
as staff managed Google Drive.
I also looked at that too, going, but I don't manage the Google Drive.
Well, you don't, but.
I know, that's what I was thinking,
Conservation and Trails has one that Darren set up,
right,
which is quite extensive, I might add. And they want to abandon it, and I don't blame them, honestly. I always felt guilty asking somebody, add this person, take that person off.
Yeah.
Too much work. So we'll do the same thing for Conservation and Trails that I did for EDC. We'll set up a Google Drive, and just the chairperson and the vice chair will have the credentials, so that you don't have to worry about the open meeting law violation. So yes, it's a problem that still needs more official guidance from the state. It has not come yet. But just remember those rules. Do not have conversations with more, in our case, more than two people in any way, emails or comments in a shared document. That's the rule. By the way, there's an example of this happening. Select board oftentimes is working on large documents. If you ever gone to a select board meeting, you'll notice there will be a marked up document with comments by multiple people. You might wonder, well, how is that working? The answer is those comments are being sent into whoever, maybe Tammy, maybe, I don't know who's doing it, person, but one person, and it's a staff person. And they're accumulating them, and the only time they're seeing each other's comments is at the meeting. So that's how that works. At least I hope that's how it's working.
Well, they should be seeing them actually in the packet.
Or in the packet, that's right. That's the first time they should be seeing it, but not in between. Because then that becomes a conversation.
It's still conversational if you read the packet the week before, so it's.
But it's public at
awkward.
that point.
It's public.
That's the difference.
That's right,
That's the difference.
yes, indeed.
So that's the story with the Google Drive. So there is a Google Drive. I've given Igor the credentials. I have the credentials, and whenever we have a change of guards, they'll be passed on. And everybody has a folder that is read-only to everybody else. So I've been putting like, for example, on the Google Drive is the candidate places where we might go for our business outreach. But you can't write to it. You have to send it to
I could
me,
write to you and you.
and I put it in there, but then you can all see it. That's the whole idea. It's like scheduling. It's very similar to the scheduling exception, which you're allowed to do via email, and that even can be a two-way conversation. So that's the deal with the Google Drive. It's annoying a little bit, but it makes some sense how you don't want to have conversations amongst multiple people outside of the meetings. Next, upcoming development applications. Are there any that we need to comment on? I put this on the agenda because I noticed in our mission that it is our job to advise the planning commission and the development review board about such issues. And we've never done it. It happens to have been a standard operating procedure for the Conservation and Trails Committee. Kent brings it to us each meeting when appropriate. He gives us a quick presentation. We give him as a committee's 2 cents, what we think to pass on as advice in the staff report to the DRB or the planning commission, whichever makes sense. I thought that should probably be something that we're doing too.
So what exactly do you mean by upcoming development applications?
So the DRB will be meeting and having some applications on it. Maybe it's a subdivision, maybe it's a new housing project, maybe it's a new apartment house, whatever it might be. And our job is to advise on these things. That is one of the things that we're an advisory committee. We're supposed to be advising the DRB. We're supposed to know more about the economy of our town and what makes sense. So that's something that we probably should be doing. So I would ask you if you agree, and if you do, we'll charge Jean with at least bringing us a list of the things that are going to be at the next DRB committee meeting or planning commission meeting that you think might be worthy of our attention. And we'll just put it on the agenda and we'll give you our 2 cents and you can pass it along.
Okay, so you next, and we'll do this on the business meeting. So, and you basically want the DRB agenda. Okay. You know, that this also,
With the link to there's a link on the website to every application.
yeah,
The link will do the job nicely.
this also will go into, I just want to put it on your radar. I know that one of the, suggestions from the economic development study will be, and it's similar to South Burlington, is really looking at all of the available developable space, whether it's owned by the town or not, and really looking at what would we like to see there, what kind of, you know, we're asking TPMA, one of the questions that came out of our meeting yesterday was asking TPMA, okay, what businesses are you telling us to recruit? Where should we, you know, to keep the blend and all that, what are their recommendations? Well, one of the recommendations from them is to have a list of available shovel-ready plots with a sense of what do we see in that plot? Is it housing? Is it a housing development? You know, what would we like to see? And then,
It's a little bit off topic, but yes,
Yeah.
that's the general idea.
so I think it just moves right into.
But it would be triggered by the applications in this case.
Yeah,
And we would assess, if this makes sense to be here.
right. And the expansion of this after when we get the study, and if we all agree with it, the expansion will be to really know our open developable shovel-ready plots.
Right.
So that we can say, yeah, we've talked about this area right here.
A
And we
perfect
think it's a good
example,
idea.
a perfect example is what's going on at the planning commission right now. There has been a request to add a number of uses to the RPDI zone. They are more industrial type uses. Now, if you remember from our visit to a business in the RPDI, the kind of uses that the businesses that are there would like to see are things like restaurants, things that would support the people that are already there. That was not on the list of added
Perfect.
uses. So Conservation and Trails Committee weighed in, we do that. And we sent them a list of the things, yeah, don't add junkyards, that's not good. and some other items that were requested. Some of them were fine. But we said, but you're missing all these other things we need to have, such as restaurants, things that would support the recreation part of what's there, stuff like that. We should be doing the same thing. I feel like we are not doing our job to advise. So if you agree, I would ask Jean to, on a regular basis,
Yeah.
add, even if it just says upcoming development applications and nothing more. If you don't have time, maybe, we'll look at what's on the agenda at the meeting if necessary.
Yeah.
If you can, list them in a link to the packet that's online for the development application.
Yeah.
If you can. I understand that you have very limited time, so whatever you can do would be appreciated, but at the
Sure.
very minimum,
That's so easy, you're doing it, it's easy.
it's something that we should be weighing in on. I think we missed the boat on that. So everybody, question?
So, prior iterations of this commission,
We are a commission.
as well as the EDC in Milton, have had the town manager attend, so they could get the 6 to 12 month view of development and what's coming at us. And there was a real scoop, I will say, at the Milton Economic Development Commission meeting last week, about a massive business that might expand into Milton. And so you find out information when you have really good intelligence that we can use as a commission to make good decisions and give good advice. And I really, as a citizen, could look up the next DRB agenda or the next planning commission agenda, so that's not helpful.
So you.
I want the 10,000 foot look from somebody like Greg through you if necessary, because I know he's busy, but we need to have better intelligence and better information than what the public is getting, because our task is to be looking ahead
Should we
and
just
not
make
just
an open
what's coming in
invitation?
a week.
Should make an open invitation to Greg so that,
Sure,
so
If you
could
just
you add
came for
that,
10 minutes.
add that as well? So a simple motion is to permanently add upcoming development applications to our agenda, list upcoming development applications, and invite the town manager to update us on future development applications.
yeah, because he's the one, I believe, unless, it may also be Eugene, and it may also be Catherine,
Whoever.
that the Amazons of the world are talking to way in advance of anything ever bubbling up in public or on agendas. And we need to know, not by name maybe, but I think we as the EDC need to have more and better information about what's coming at us. And we used to get that under different management. And we used to also have the village planner coming in on a regular basis doing that. So this particular commission used to have a much broader perspective than we're getting now. So I would aspire to thinking bigger and
So I'll
broader.
make it official then. Let's add this item to the agenda permanently. A second, please.
I second.
Any more discussion about it? So the idea is,
She's absolutely right, Channel came to us, the town, 6 months before an application even went in,
exactly,
but it was a confidential meeting. So no one could,
we can go to executive session, no problem.
no one could, exactly, no one could, but no one at the meeting could discuss the meeting other than the people who were at the meeting for. So there, you do run into some of those things, but I think that with, as you say, with an executive session, you could,
We could advise, which is our job.
I think on the, so we can put, for comfort level, couldn't you put for the permanent, permanent agenda items, list of DRB, upcoming projects from the Development Review Board with links to the packets,
Certainly that,
possible, and
possible executive session. to
possible
discuss.
executive session discussion of any upcoming
The
topics.
select board agenda typically has that on it, just copy that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we did Conservation and Trails Committee has a real estate thing in the works. We have to have an executive session about that, right? in the middle- We did it right in the middle of the meeting now, interestingly enough,
Yeah,
because the person that we needed to talk to was, we didn't want to make him wait.
and putting the executive session then gives, gives Matt,
Yes,
Greg and
we
Catherine
can be
a lot of.
informed before others need to be informed.
Yeah.
Thank you for your, so it's a motion, there's a second, any more discussion? All right, then all in favor of making this permanent change to our agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you, Jean. Sorry to dump more work on you.
No, the clarity is great. This is all plug and play.
It shouldn't be too bad, I hope.
No,
All right, so this is an interesting item. I did not know this was coming. The Essex EDC mission statement. So there's apparently examples of other towns' mission statements.
And they're interesting because some are very expansive
Woo!
oh,
Not Howard though.
and some are
No,
just.
just a light. Nobody's making a motion by the light.
Oh, that's
You can
right.
leave it off if you
That's
want.
right.
You don't have to put it on. It seems to be picking up, adjusting just fine.
yeah.
Yeah, but we might wanna see what we're looking at.
Well, some people have bad with screen.
Paper paste.
Some people have bad with screen.
It's,
But this is cool. We have apparently example missions from Milton, South Burlington, Williston, and Colchester. Who's responsible for putting this on the agenda?
me, I did because we had the prior meeting, we had Mr. Renner had sent us the Milton. And part of your economic development study is gonna be a mission statement, and I believe there was discussion at the time we brought we discussed the Milton. There was we should look at ours, so I thought, well,
I did
okay,
recently,
we've got,
actually.
let's look at the surrounding towns, see what they've got. Williston really doesn't have, I talked to the town manager, he said, I gave you what, it's his laundry list, but just to give you a flavor of what the mission statements are. And a sense, and there's no time frame in this, but, this is what sits on our webpage,
Is ours in here?
yes.
Okay, good.
So again, it's context.
And what I just handed out is what Milton discussed, actually did not discuss, but handed out at their last month's meeting, which is even more comprehensive, and I think it gives us some, just neat ideas to play with as we're
Is
thinking
that
about.
really our mission statement currently? Seems kind of short.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, mission statements tend to be,
Okay.
actually, this is long for a mission statement. But yeah,
All right, so the purpose of this agenda item is to consider revising ours, given these examples. What's the goal here?
Context from the last conversation. What you choose to do is up to the commission's decision. It just gives you it further gives you contextualizes the prior business meetings discussion.
feeling like it's late in the meeting to start something like this, but.
Well, I think I would make one change to our current mission statement and be specific about the boards that we're supposed to advise. So the select board certainly, planning commission and development review board, as well as the other stuff that's listed here.
Housing.
Housing commission, that's right, it's brand new, good point. Yeah, I think the individual ones that we specifically are supposed to be advising should be listed. Other than that, it seems generic enough, I guess. Yep, I guess the ordinance would fit under that, so that's cool.
I would make all those bullet points active, start with verbs, understand the state, appreciate the impact, nurture programs.
Irene, would you kindly take on the responsibility
I would
of,
love to.
I appreciate that. Come to us with a revised mission statement based on any other input that might be offered.
No, I've read through ours before too, and it was interesting because I looked at Milton's and I was like, wow, that's a lot. But then I looked at ours and it was like, it seems to encapsulate,
Same idea, but in less words.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would like to see is more specifics about who we advise.
Okay.
It makes the responsibility seem a little bit more gravitas. Because it does say that for conservation and shelter, specifically says DRB and planning commission.
And it proves the point that economic development is not just bringing businesses into a town, it's the entire lifeblood of the town.
Oh, that reminds me, you mentioned something earlier about land that is available for development.
Yeah,
I'm trying to stop using that term because what it also says, well, this land here is undeveloped. And I kind of try to think about all of our land as developed in one way or another. And really what we're talking about is redevelopment.
Ah,
So a good example would be an urban area, which is blighted, and the houses are falling down. One would say, well, that's developed. Maybe that's but developed. But what happens many times in urban areas is that area becomes redeveloped. Sometimes community gardens get put in, for example, or new housing, or whatever the case may be. So we always try to think about a forest is developed. It's a forest. That's an agricultural activity, or a wildlife activity, or a recreation activity. It's developed. But it might get redeveloped into housing or something else.
For growth opportunities.
I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
because, we talk about, DEI and such, and I always say, well, inclusion isn't sufficient, belonging is what we want. So I think about these words and what we say to each other, and I kind of don't want somebody to think, oh, my land's undeveloped. No, that's not right. Just a thought. That was mentioned in the previous conversation.
You said blighted, I thought you'd driven by and saw my lawn.
Your lawn needs redevelopment.
This is watering probably like mine does,
Thank you for taking that responsibility on, Irene, appreciate it.
anytime.
All right, our next meeting, in theory, will be at the lingerie shop. At the usual 8 o'clock time on the third Thursday of the month. That will be confirmed,
I'll put the official name of the business in there.
thank you.
Liverest, so-
That will be
Yes,
confirmed
I
in the
can't
next
pronounce
few
it.
days. Keep your ear to the ground, you'll get the word to confirm it. I haven't heard back yet.
She was eager to host us.
I know she was, and I sent that, I said, I have by the way, on the illicit Google Drive, I do have an invitation email, which is read-only. You can grab it, if you have an idea of a business, you can grab that invitation letter and send it off and see what's up.
There was a new business that opened up that's doing part-time and,
Do you wanna suggest it for future?
it's Upbeat Creamy. So they moved from Winooski. They kind of do the afternoon shift at Uncommon Coffee.
So it's inside Uncommon Coffee?
Yes.
Mhm.
So when Uncommon closes at 2,
Oh. Oh, interesting.
we were at a business in Burlington, it was the same way as they
So
were.
it's like a dual use, fascinating
They were-
business model.
The one restaurant did lunch and
The
like
timeshare.
breakfast.
for
And
the
then
Boys and Girls Club.
and then they-
But, yeah,
And then they
It's like a
did,
business
and then they did,
timeshare.
then another
Yeah.
chef came in and did dinner. It was a different
Ooh, I'm
restaurant.
intrigued.
Fabulous, I
I'm
love that
intrigued.
idea. Of course, that would not be an 8 AM start. for us.
Not
No.
likely,
You'd have to go
not
at night.
necessarily. We can meet in Uncommon Coffee with those people at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I would try to stick to the schedule. Remember, regular meetings, you're supposed to stick to the schedule at the very least. Now, the place obviously is changing. But if we do meet at a different
Well, we could
time,
meet with Maya, we haven't met with Maya yet,
yes, we have.
as
You are.
the EDC we have?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, in fact, she didn't think of temporary signage as something that she would take advantage of, but they have these little contests, for example, these events.
Mhm.
It would be perfect for them to put out on Essex Way a sign saying, we're having a, what do they call it, latte art contest. So, yes, even businesses that don't think that they would be candidates for temporary lawn signage could be.
All right, well,
That's the next meeting plans. I appreciate that idea. I will add it to the list and go find out who to contact.
I can find out who it is.
Thank you.
Send it along. Thank you.
I'll send you the,
See if you're up at 8 in the morning.
And any other ideas? I have the schedule. I want to queue it all up and that makes it easier to have more time.
well, it was just so interesting to kind of harken back to what you were talking about before with knowing beforehand is I found out at a business that they were moving to Essex. Instead of us knowing beforehand that, oh, this business is moving to Essex, and it's like,
Right.
huh, okay. Yeah, I think that's great.
I hate to go back, but I feel it was very sad that the EDC had absolutely no input on the Amazon project moves. None, zero. No official input. I was there for Conservation and Trails Committee. All right, then, unless there's something else somebody wants to add to the agenda on the fly, we are looking for a motion to adjourn.
So we're,
I'll second it. All in favor of adjourning?
fine.
All right, we are
12:30.
adjourned. at
So Commissioner Renner, now that we're.
12:27.
Are you the one getting Jeanette White and John?
So
Egan?
I just stopped, right? Recording?
I know